Hi guys, in today's video I would like to showcase you the tricky method, one of methods that optional has, which is sometimes not really obvious, especially if you don't go inside the documentation and read the actual expectation of what method provides. So to explain you the current context, imagine that we have several users and we are developing the system intelligent enough to be able to distinguish the way of the contact for these users, by the priority of contact, I mean. So the user on the registration path can insert either his phone or his email, or both. Yeah, it's up to user. And based on the actual state of the user, meaning that whether he inserted phone or email, he might be contacted by either one or the other communication channel. So in our case, let's imagine that we want to prioritize the phone channel. So first we try to send the user the SMS, and then only if the phone is nullable, for example as for user 2, then we basically try to send him an email as his phone is not available for us, so we cannot send an SMS. Right, so to do this, as these two fields can be empty, can be null, not even empty but null, as you can see here, I will wrap the getter method for each of these fields as an optional. Optional of nullable, as any of these values can be null. And the flow is pretty simple, in my opinion. We try to get the phone, we send SMS in the map method, so only if phone is available. Otherwise, we send an SMS, we send an email, and we print it out. So let's check whether it works or not. To check it, I created a simple test, just creates the instance of the class and calls the execute method. So let's run it. So here we have it. Yeah, the message for user 1, he was contacted by phone. The user 2 was contacted by email, which seems correct, as user 1 has phone and email is null, and the user 2 has email and phone is null. And user 3 was also contacted by phone because he provided it, and he also provided email, but as it is secondary communication channel, we decided as a business logic not to use it. Yeah, seems as everything is working correctly, but here is one tricky thing, and this tricky thing is the usage of the method orElse on the optional. So basically, this method, it accepts as an argument the object. which means that this object should be created, which means that the method to create the object should be called, which means that even if the user provided his phone, in this case, we will still try to communicate him through the email as well. So he will be communicated by both channels, SMS and email, which is a thing that we did not want to achieve. To prove it, I will uncomment the printing of the access points on both methods, send SMS and send email, and I will run the test again. So as you can see, for the user 1, we sent SMS and we tried to send an email, but his email was nullable, so it wasn't sent. Kind of, yeah, but we still tried to do it, which is wrong, as the phone was already provided. For user 2, we sent only email because his phone was nullable, so here it kind of worked, but not because it is properly written, but just because by the accident. And for user 3, he was communicated by SMS and he was communicated by email again. So actually at this point it was the violation of business rules, and well, if you think about it from the point of view of sending additional email while sending his SMS, it's maybe not that bad, but still it's a violation. But let's imagine the situation that user was charged twice the amount of money because both primary and secondary sources of both ways of charging him were available because they were provided by him, and they both were called just because of such misuse of the method. And fix here is actually pretty simple. So instead of calling the method, we will use the orElseGet method, which accepts the supplier. So supplier is secondary provider. Let's name it like that. Secondary provider is email in our case. So difference between these two methods, orElse and orElseGet, is that orElseGet, it accepts the supplier, and to fetch the value from the supplier, so in our case to actually call this send email method, there will be a check that if the phone in our case is not nullable, it will use the phone without calling the supplier on an email. And only if there is no phone number provided by the user, the supplier.get on email will be called, and in our case it will be the send email method. So now running the tests, and user 1 was communicated by an SMS, user 2 was communicated by an email, and user 3 was communicated by SMS only. So now there is no violation of rules. and the change is really simple, but the method itself is pretty tricky, and even developers with 5 and even 10 years of experience, if they don't read the documentation properly, they can fall into such pitfall. And yeah, that's it. That's it from my side on this topic. Thank you for being here, and hope to see you soon. Bye.